afternoon, everyone. Hello. This is the very last talk before you may sleep. Please do not sleep until after this talk. My name is Topher. I am a WordPress developer from Grand Rapids, Michigan, just like it says on the slides. I've been working with WordPress for 5 years now, full-time. I've been a web developer for more than 20 years. My wife likes to say that I was working with the web before there were pictures on the web. Recently, I tried to crowdsource a WordPress project. It was called HeroPress. In November, my boss said, I want you to do something cool. I said, what? He said, anything you want. And so I thought long and hard, and we came up with the idea of HeroPress, which was to be like a little like TED, but for WordPress. So we were going to have videos of people speaking to people who were experiencing some trouble or another, solving problems, saving the world. We went live with our Kickstarter at Pressnomics in February? When was Pressnomics? Anybody know? I think February. It ran for 20 days, and we did not reach our goal, which is very sad, which is why I'm not doing HeroPress anymore. This is not how to run a Kickstarter, not how to run Indiegogo, GoFundMe, any of those things. There are a zillion books, websites, coaches, and all that stuff on how to do a Kickstarter, how to be successful. And maybe if I had accessed some of them, I would have done better. I don't know. But this is about community. And it's not just the WordPress community. This will work within any community. So it'll work within the Drupal community. It will work within dog racing community. It's just really about working within the community that you're in. I'm going to go through a list of don'ts and a list of do's. Most of my don'ts are taken directly from a single project that was attempted also this spring, the same time as mine. I'm not going to tell you what it is because I don't want to take a dog down. But they were looking for $64,000 and got $120,000. We were looking for $60,000 US and we got $25,000 or so. Don't speak out of turn. Last fall, I think it was last fall. When was Word Sesh? Anybody remember that? December. In December was Word Sesh. 24 hours of online WordCamp talks, basically, live, 24 straight. Kind of an Iron Man thing if you watch them all live. So this person, or each session had its own chat room, so you could get in and ask questions of the speaker, chat with other people, things like that. This person got in to the chat rooms and said, hey, I'm trying to do a Kickstarter. It's all about this. You should come talk to me about this. And totally diverted away from WordSesh. And everybody said, hey, what are you doing? We don't know who you are. Why should we talk to you about your thing? We're here for WordSesh. Stop annoying us. And immediately set up a barrier to the community. And then nobody wanted to talk to them. So, be careful about when you speak and to whom you speak. Do it the right way. You'll get a lot farther. Don't do this. Cold calls, unsolicited emails, and blind tweets. The same person worked very hard to not spam people, so he manually typed out several hundred tweets to people in the community and said, hi, I'm doing a Kickstarter. You're going to love it, and you should give me money. Please go here and learn more. And they said, who are you? We don't know who you are. And he immediately set up another barrier. The same works with cold calls. Don't call someone you don't know and say, I'd like you to give me money. It doesn't work. People don't give money to strangers. And unsolicited emails. Everybody loves unsolicited emails, right? Don't do it. Don't be defensive. as soon as all of these barriers came up and this person started getting pushback, they put up a website dedicated to talking about how poorly everybody was behaving toward him. And what a terrible thing the community was doing by not giving him money to do this project. And you're not going to convince someone to give you money by saying bad things about them in public. It doesn't work. Don't be defensive. If somebody pushes back and says, you're doing this wrong, I don't want to talk to you right now because of this, say, great, thank you for telling me that. I appreciate it. I like your input. Thank you. You're going to win way more Kickstarter dollars that way. Don't reject input you don't like. This person put the WordPress logo in their own logo, which is against the law. People said things nicely on Twitter. Hey, check out this page on WordPress.org about using the logo. You're not supposed to do that. And he just kind of went bananas about how they were attacking him, and it's just one more barrier. Don't be defensive. Don't reject input you don't like. All input is good, even negative input. Negative input is better. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Negative input is the best. Do this. Know your audience personally. If you are able, start prepping for your project 5 to 10 years in advance. Now, you don't know right now what your project will be 5 to 10 years from now. I didn't. I didn't know 6 months ago. I didn't know 3 months ago. But 5 years ago, when I started doing WordPress, I shook every hand I could. And I said, hi, my name's Topher. Tell me about what you do. And I became friends with every single person I could. And now, when I want to do something, I can go to all of those people and say, hey, I'm doing this cool project. And they immediately want to talk to me about it because we're friends. Not necessarily because they like my project. There were a lot of people who said to me, I don't necessarily like the way your project is being run, but I like you and I trust you, so I'm going to give somebody who's your Kickstarter. And that meant a lot to me personally. Play the long game. This harkens immediately back to what I just said. I skipped ahead a little bit. Start now getting to know everyone. Go to WordCamp, and every time you sit at a table, get to know the person on either side of you. Even if you just exchange names, find out where they live, and who they work for. Maybe follow them on Twitter. Follow them on Facebook. I don't do that, so I don't really know how that works. But get to know everyone. The more people you know, the farther you will go. Be willing to pivot. Your idea may not be perfect yet. Before we came up with the idea of HeroPress, we worked for about 3 months to figure out what we wanted to do, and we pivoted probably 3 or 4 times a week. Dramatic pivots. Completely new business models. We tested, we talked to people, we took input, we got pushback. After we decided we wanted to do HeroPress, we pivoted almost every day a little bit. We said, okay, we're gonna do this. No, we're gonna change it just a little bit. We were originally gonna have the videos made by the speakers on their Macs. Well, it's kind of crappy video. So we said, okay, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna ask the speaker to find a videographer in their city and set up an appointment. And we will pay for a professional videographer to go to their house, set up lights, and do this. Which sounds kind of like a big pivot. It changed our money a lot. But on the other hand, we're still doing HeroPress. We're still doing exactly what we were going to say. After we started the Kickstarter, we continued to pivot. We got an enormous amount of feedback. Positive, negative, neutral, all of it. And a number of people had really good ideas. We said, why didn't we think of that? And we pivoted. We changed what we were going to do. And we were very transparent about it. We put it right on the Kickstarter page, we put it on our own homepage, and said, so-and-so had this idea, we're going to do that. so-and-so raised this point that we're really going to make some people angry if we do this thing, so we're going to change it. All that stuff. You have to be willing to pivot. If you don't, you will fail every time. Seek input and accept it, good or bad. If you don't seek input from people, then you're not going to know that you need to pivot. You're not going to know whether you're headed toward success or headed toward certain doom. Equally important, don't go after only the people you know will tell you what you want to hear. The Bible tells us, avoid the people who whisper beautiful things in your ears, because they're not helping you. They're just telling you what you want to hear. It's nice to hear what you want to hear. Don't reject those people. You need the emotional support of somebody saying, hey, you're doing great. But you have to listen to the people who hate your project. There's a reason they hate it. And if all of them hate it, there's a reason that it's probably not a good idea to do your project. Have an idea, write for crowdsourcing. My idea is brilliant. It's awesome. We're still going to do it. When our Kickstarter failed, people came out of the woods. Like dozens of people sent me email and said, you can't stop. You have to do this. People I'd never heard of. People who did not give us money. People were saying, you have to do this. I will volunteer my own personal time off the clock. You don't have to pay me anything. Tell me what I can do to make this happen. Because my idea was good. The reason that Kickstarter failed is that we were looking to the wrong people for money. And we were doing the Kickstarter for the wrong reason. The secret is we did not need the money. We were looking for validation. We were hoping that thousands of people would give $5 as a gesture of confidence. Say, I love your project. Here's $5 as an indication that I think this is a good project. What happened is 4 large donors gave us $20,000. And maybe a dozen people made up the other 500. Relatively speaking, we had a short Kickstarter. If we left it long enough, I think we may have got the money. But it would not have been from the people we wanted money from. It would not have validated, it would not have served its purpose. It was, even if we got the money, it would have been a bust because it did not tell us what we wanted to know. So we got our validation from someplace else. We got our validation from people saying, this is awesome, I need this. We were trying specifically to speak to people in third world countries, I guess you'd say. People where the community is not strong and prevalent. And those people said, please, 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 please come do this project here. I will do anything to help make this happen. And that's the validation I wanted. And we got it, and it was great. So I say have an idea right for crowdsourcing. There are other ideas that are great. Who does not know Julie Keel? Okay, a couple people. She lives in Minnesota. She wants to go to the Flywheel WordPress school. And she doesn't have the money. I think she's looking for $75 grand. No, I'm sorry, $7,500. That's the big difference. So she put up a Kickstarter, it's a GoFundMe, and said, hey everybody, I'm trying to get to the school and I can't get there by myself. Will you, my friends, help me? And money is just flowing at her. Because she's cool. She's a valuable member of the community. She contributes a lot. She speaks at WordCamps. She writes a lot of code. She's a valuable member of the community and people love her. And so they're just throwing dollars at her. And that's awesome. That's perfect. Triple J with his BuddyPress campaign. He raised $50,000 in 45 days to support himself for 6 months of nothing but buddy press. That was a perfect project for crowdsourcing. I can't tell you, like if you came to me right now and said, here's my project, is it good for crowdsourcing? I couldn't necessarily tell you. You have to do a lot of testing, you have to ask a lot of people. I did a poor job with HeroPress of asking people ahead of time, will you give money? I asked the large donors ahead of time, will you give money? And many of them said yes, and we got that money. I did not go to everybody and their brother and say, will you give me $5? If I had, I would learn a whole lot. So ask questions and get the right project. Something else I was just going to say, and it slipped right out. Oh well, I'll come back to it. More things to do. Be thankful for your supporters. These are the people who say, you are awesome. This is great. I'm going to tell all my friends, and I'm going to give you $10. These people, you need them emotionally, because there will be days when somebody's telling you, you are the worst person on earth for doing this. So you need these people. People who love you, people who love your project. Be nice to them, talk to them. Use them like good medicine. When you're down, find somebody who says you're awesome and just have a nice long conversation. And you'll feel a lot better. Ignore the whiners. These are real things. All these are. This is really from HeroPress. The top one, rather weak campaign. Just a written post, too long, didn't read. No video, nothing. Wanting to raise like $50K for some glorification of a few coders. Man, we had a wonderful video. It was really cool. That's one of the things I'm most proud of about the whole thing. We had a video. 50,000 is not what we were going for, and we were not trying to glorify any coders. This person had no idea what they were talking about. And I can tell that from just reading it. The next one. Unhappy is the land that needs a hero. This is all pretty ridiculous. People who make useful software are helpful, but heroes? This is part of a knock because we didn't have any women speakers in the first round. They were in the second round. So obviously I'm a sexist pig. These kind of posts are not useful. Just walk away. Engage the questioners. These are the best. These are the most valuable people in your whole project. These are the people who come out initially and say, this sounds like a terrible idea. Tell me more. Prove to me that it's a good idea. Because they will push and they will help you find holes. And if you can engage them long enough, they will help you solve all those problems and you will be way ahead. These are both from Matt Cromwell. And the first thing I ever saw from him was a comment on the tab. Personally, I prefer that hero worship stay out of the WordPress community. That's all he said. But he reached out to me because he has a blog where he does articles kind of similar to the tab. And he said, would you be willing to answer some questions I have? I said, absolutely. And he sent me a half dozen questions, and I answered them, and he wrote a big long article. And Topher just replied to each and every criticism with detail and respect, validates their cause. So several things happened here. Publicly, a detractor said, I was wrong, this is a cool project. Behind the scenes, he helped me plug some holes. He helped me verbalize to the community in a better way what we're doing and help me tell people this is what we're doing. Because he didn't get it. Some people just didn't get it right away. Because I said it wrong. He helped me figure that out. The questioners, I can't stress it enough. These are valuable people. And sometimes there's a fine line between questioners and whiners. You might get somebody who looks like a whiner, but if they come back to you and they say, prove to me you're not stupid. Do it. Do your best. If at the end of that they still say, no, you're an idiot, then move on. Because there will be enough other people who say, no, you're not an idiot, this is a good, valuable project. So, engage these people. My wife sent me this picture in the middle of HeroPress. There will always be the whiners. Let them go. And that's what I have. I struggled with whether or not to give a talk about how to do crowdsourcing for WordPress when the only time I ever tried failed. But I was made confident by the fact that I learned why it failed, and I can communicate to you what not to do, at least, and how you can change what I did to help accelerate your own crowdsourced project. Are there any questions? Yes, sir.
If you had a project that you felt was appropriate for crowdsourcing, would you attempt that route again, or are you kind of gun shy from it at this point?
The question is, would I do crowdsourcing again if I thought I had an appropriate project? And the answer is absolutely yes. There is something very, very special about a community coming together to fund something. To a certain extent, it doesn't matter what it is, it's special every time it happens. Whether it's funding a plugin, funding somebody going to school, funding medical bills for someone in the community who had a horrible accident. I've seen all of that happen in the last 3 months. It's a tremendously exciting thing to happen. And it is fun. I mean, even though we didn't make it, it was a lot of fun because the Kickstarter page auto-updates. So I didn't even have to hit refresh. I just set my phone there and watch it. Somebody gave money. Whoa, that's fun! So it's exciting. It's fun. One more piece of trivia. This is interesting. I didn't know this immediately. I didn't know this until after we started. With Kickstarter, if you fail, you cannot do it again. If you cancel, you can anytime you want. So we canceled ours. Ours did not fail. We canceled it probably a day and a half before the end. It was very obvious we weren't going to make it. But that made it so that we could circle the wagons and try again if we chose to. I really don't think we are with HeroPress. We don't have a valid reason for raising money anymore. More questions? Yes?
Just kind of curious. I'm actually helping produce a web series that we don't have a tangible product yet. We're still in the development stages. So if in the future we do go to have a Kickstarter campaign, would you suggest, and this makes sense to me, but would you suggest having a tangible product to show people before saying, hey, please invest in this so we can take it further?
Your tangible product mean like a widget, a physical thing you can hold in your hand?
No, maybe I used tangible wrong, but like an actual video and then our blog. And
yes,
like
that's an excellent question. The question is, should you, before you do Kickstarter, have an example of what you're going to be making? I did not, and I absolutely should have. I think it might have made a difference. We were going to have 20-minute videos of people talking about how to solve a specific problem. And everybody said, show me. I didn't have one. The best I could do is in the middle of my Kickstarter, I interviewed my speakers. And we did 5-minute interviews. And they said, this is why I want to speak, and this is what I'm going to speak about. So people got a sense of who they were, what they sounded like, what it might be kind of like. But it would have been huge for me to have an actual thing that I was going to be producing. This is what I'm going to make with your money. So absolutely, have a professional, polished, completed example of what it is you're going to make before you go.
Thank you.
And it's hard because you don't have that Kickstarter money to do that with.
We've got the camera and the talent already, so
Yeah. All right.
we're pretty good there, but yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely would. more questions?
Yeah, maybe another. You were talking about making sure your campaign is right for Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Are there any examples that you're like, oh god, that is just so wrong for Kickstarter or crowdsourcing?
Yeah, I'm not sure that ours was good for Kickstarter, but it might have been good for Indiegogo. Because Kickstarter works very much better where the rewards are things you're going to make with the money, which is physical thingies. So, you know, we're gonna make little radios. If you give $25, you get one. If you give $50, you get two, and so on and so forth. Because of the reward system, the way Kickstarter works, it just works a lot better that way. With Indiegogo, the rewards are more flexible. You're allowed to do more things. So look around at the crowdsourcing options. You don't have to do Kickstarter. We chose Kickstarter because of the name. And I wish I had pushed back and said, no, we really should do Indiegogo. I think it would have helped some. I don't remember where I was going. Repeat your question.
Are there any examples of campaigns that are wrong?
Yeah, so something that would be really wrong. I would have said Triple J's project, giving him money so he can work would have been wrong, because he gave back nothing. All of his rewards were like, you will feel good. And it worked because he was right for it. For anybody else, I would say, if you have no rewards, no one's going to do that. It's tradition. I mean, you might find somebody who will give you money for nothing. But part of the whole thing with Kickstarter is, you give a little money, you get a thing when they're done. So with your project, where you're going to produce a web series or something, have some kind of restricted something that the donors have access to that nobody else does.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes videos, I don't know, access to the speakers, something. I think there's nothing about your project that sets off bells for me that says this is a bad idea.
Okay. Yay.
Yeah.